Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, God, I'm so excited about this build. My newest build. This video is just meant for the initial thoughts and build ideas what I have, or at least what I try to make with this kind of character. And yeah, it is kind of combining the kind of builds that I enjoy the most, which is autobombing and which is damage over time. And this character should become an Herald of Thunder Ignite Autobomber Elementalist. And I had this kind of idea, like I think it was Delirium League or something, where I tried to do like an I think it was the time when I played my Arc, like Archmage, Arc, Trickster, Ignite build back in the days with the Stormfire ring. And back in the days, I also tried to do like an Herald of Thunder, Stormfire, Ignite based build, but it was actually completely trash. It was one of these ideas, that could work, tried it, it sucked, so let's forget about it, right? Then, like, I think a couple weeks later with the Storm Secret Ring, I think it was Heist League or something, big change, but it still was not meant for, like, Herald of Thunder in terms of Ignite, because what the Storm Secret Ring is, first of all, it procs now on Shock and not shocked enemies killed, so you could maintain Herald of Thunder on bosses, but also, the important thing is, on Ignite-based builds, you only have one stack of Ignite unless you play with an mbWake ring or something like that, where you can get like 2 or maximum 3 Ignites, I think with Burning Arrow and something like that. Doesn't really matter, but still you have only one instance of Ignite, and Herald of Thunder doesn't have like a big hit where you can actually inflict some ridiculous high Ignites to actually be good. It worked for mapping, but it was still kind of shit for single target, and a well-known issue that Autobombers have, until the point where they released the Storm Secret Rings, where we could get, like, I don't know, like, some people actually got, like, 30 million DPS just with Herald of Thunder alone, which was ridiculous, right? So, what is the change to this version? Why is an Ignite Herald of Thunder build now possible? And the reason is simple, it is the Fire Burst. So this is a Fire Burst Autobomber, and if you're gonna go to YouTube and search for Fire Burst, you're gonna find a lot of people that are actually doing something similar, or playing like Fire Burst, Ignite builds and something like that. But hey, I just have to try this one out just because it's Ignite, it's damage over time, it's a Herald of Thunder Autobomber, it is tanky and can also do all content. Theoretically, at least. I've seen videos where people with Fire Burst killed Awakener 9, Cyrus, for example, so I know the potential is there, but I'm just gonna make my own kind of version and try out some fancy things. But in theory, this build should be hilarious, and I cannot wait to stick some currency into it, to see how it goes in the future stages, right? This video is meant to be what are my ideas, what I want to build in, how does this actually work, and why is it good, and why, like, why is this even a thing? Fire Burst does exist since quite some time already. And if we take a look at Fire Burst PoE. So it comes from the essence of Hysteria, and I don't think that I have one somewhere. Let's see, essence. No, it's one of the essence of Hysteria here. They're kind of expensive, I think, based on that stat over here. So it gives you the skill Fire Burst, which is, or used to be, a 10% chance to proc when you attack. And it just was like an eruption of like flame or something. Looked a little bit like, I'm actually just gonna go here, Blood Aqueduct, and just going to attack with the weapon so you see what Fire Burst actually looks like. And then we're gonna talk about why is it so insane right now and how we can actually use it for the future progress. So if I just go out attack, I think I'm not even res. Oh, I'm actually res capped. So I basically just attack a monster. Well, this is, yeah, I know, this looks kind of cool, right? So we're just gonna get rid of Ignite Proliferation and the Barracks Respite, so maybe now we can actually see what's happening. Kind of. But it is like some kind of explosion that is targeting like a couple, not too far or not too crazy, but it is like this kind of explosion that you can see over here. This is Fire Burst. So, why is this actually so good right now? And because this is actually, Fire Burst exists since quite a long of time. I think it was always from Essence of Hysteria, but it got heavily buffed in 3.14. So let's take a look at the changes. So, as I said before, Fire Burst previously only had a 10% chance when you hit the enemy to actually proc. Then it had a 0.5 seconds internal cooldown, which is now 1 second, so it actually got nerfed in the cooldown, but we can like manipulate the cooldown with like cooldown recovery and other stuff like that. It got now a higher base crit chance, the damage effectiveness went from 130 to 340, so almost tripled the damage effectiveness of your support gems and stuff. Then now has a base radius of 24 instead of 15, so almost doubled in AoE, and the base damage got also doubled. So double base damage, almost triple damage effectiveness, increased AoE, a higher crit strike chance, and now it procs on every single hit. So this procs now 100% when you hit an enemy and not only 10%. So make no wonder how crazy can this get. And I actually made some POB work here, and I just like made like a generic ignite build. So you have like Burning Bright, Blowback, we have like Sadist because we're Elementalist, right? So a very generic Elementalist non-crit build with LE Overload, and I'm currently having like 15 million ignite DPS, which is ridiculous. Like if you ever play damage over time builds, like everything above like 5-6 million damage over time, which is like Essence Drain, Blight, whatever, is fair enough to do all content. When I see that my Fire Burst has like 15 million ignite DPS, I know I should not have any troubles killing any kind of endgame bosses within a couple of seconds, which is ridiculous. So basically, so now we talk about how this kind of works. So as I said, it triggers on hit, so I could either auto attack, I could cast a spell like Stormbrand or whatever, or I'm using Herald of Thunder. Herald of Thunder, on my entire screen, the lightning comes down, it will trigger the Fire Burst, and then ignite proliferation, and actually, that's what I'm testing right now. With the Barracks Respite, when you kill an ignited enemy, inflict an equivalent ignite on each nearby enemy. So not only do we have ignite proliferation, which leaves these circles, the burning circles on the ground on the corpses, it will also proliferate the ignite, which then has like a chain reaction. And you probably seen that one on Burning Arrow builds, where they just clear 3 or 4 screens with one single shot, which is kind of ridiculous. So let's see how this works. As I said, the main idea why we go Elementalist is all damage can ignite. That means, for example, we have, I would say, 1000 fire damage, then we have like 500 cold, we have 300 lightning, and like 300 chaos, whatever, but only the fire damage can ignite, unless you're Elementalist, which also says that your hits always ignite, and all damage with hits can ignite. That means also my cold damage can ignite, my lightning and my chaos damage. There were other instances and item combination that you could use previously, that is like before the Elementalist rework. For example, the Stormfire Ring, which says lightning damage can ignite. So basically, your combined fire and lightning damage can ignite, which results in a higher base damage hit that will inflict the ignite. With all damage of hits can ignite, means we're now having like 621. So this is basically 2100 base damage of your ignite, because all of our combined damage can ignite and not only fire, which makes this Elementalist like really good. And there's also like Surface Heart, I think, has like chaos damage can ignite, and I think there is like maybe some other items. So basically how this works, we're basically killing off one single monster with like Stonebrand or whatnot. You can even auto attack, it does not really matter, because whatever you're gonna touch, it's going to use the Fire Burst, and it works the same as Death Oath. That means you can just put in, doesn't have to be linked, right? Just using like Deadly Ailments, Burning Damage, Swift Affliction, Immolate, Ignite Proliferation, Unbound Ailments, like typical stuff. And that Fire Burst now is actually a level, a 7 link more or less, right? So basically, you hit one single target, based on your Elementalist Ascendancy, you're gonna shock the enemy, which triggers your Herald of Thunder on kill, and then our Herald of Thunder will actually trigger the Fire Burst on screen range, which then will proliferate and ignite. So if we take a look, I'm just gonna use a brand. This actually killed off the pack. Now my Herald of Thunder is active, and now every time my Herald of Thunder hits with a 1 second internal cooldown, it will give the Fire Burst. So that's why you see that sometimes my Herald of Thunder does not do any damage, and sometimes it does, because it's not the Herald of Thunder that is killing the target, but it is the Fire Burst and the resulting Ignite Proliferation to just kill off hilarious amounts of packs in like one single burst. So, and that makes me obviously leave up with a couple of questions, like how can we use that? That we're gonna discuss once after this run. But as you see, the Ignite, the Proliferation with the Barracks Respite Ring and that kind of stuff, it is ridiculous. The next cool thing is, since Herald of Thunder cannot shock, even though we are Elementalist, if I wouldn't use this If I wouldn't use that one right now, so no Fire Burst at the moment, you're gonna see that my Stormbrand will actually trigger the Herald of Thunder, but at some point, when I don't do anything else but running around, I do kill some monsters, right? But as you see, they are not shocked. That means my Herald of Thunder is now off, because I haven't killed a shocked enemy recently. But when the Fire Burst goes off, and the Fire Burst actually shocks and ignites and kills an enemy, then that would automatically replenish the duration of my Herald of Thunder, so I don't need any kind of like Storm Secret Ring to permanently keep that active, which is like super good. But this is like super early stages. This is like no investment whatsoever, just a 6-socket staff with the Fire Burst. My items like a Tabi, a Gold Rim, like Wanderlust, I literally just leveled this character up. I haven't even killed Kitava yet, but I just want to talk about this build, the ideas that I have building it, and then we're gonna see how this is going to turn out, and I think it's going to be actually quite amazing, if not like the coolest build that you can run these days, with like kind of an Autobomber theme and just being completely just running walking simulator basically, right? So as I said, this is about Fire Burst. So, it scales with Fire.multi, basically, since it's an Ignite-based version. It is actually just a Fire skill, basically, but it has 1 second internal cooldown. So, the way I planned it right now is to actually go back to Chainbreaker. We know this got changed with these 3 rage costs for skills and stuff like that, but since my main damage is a trigger, I don't really have to spend anything, right? I have to cast like a Stormbrand sometimes on the start of the map, or for single target, but that's basically it, you know? So I could run like Frostblink or something on a 1 link, and it will just cost 3 rage, and I think I can actually manage the cost of it. I'm not like spamming all my skills all the time, so I would lose rage all the time. So the reason why I want to have Chainbreaker, obviously the Divergent version got nerfed, but his spell damage is not increasing our ignite damage either, right? But it's about the movement speed, the less damage taken, and those kind of things. And I kind of have like 250% movement speed on my PUB. So the first big question is, if I have so much movement speed, I do think that the Fire Burst will only trigger like every second pack, because I'm just way too fast. So I run with 250% movement speed, the Fire Burst goes off, and I'm already in a second pack, and the Herald of Thunder hits, but there is no Fire Burst because it has cooldown. So it will be a question, are we gonna sustain, or do we get enough Herald of Thunder ignite damage that I don't need Fire Burst to kill off maps? That will be one version. The next thing is it better to just stack cooldown recovery speed to lower the internal cooldown of Fire Burst, which is a thing. You know, you can get like CDR on your boots, on your belt, for example. I think even on the helmet or something. I have to check. Like somebody in chat yesterday wrote that you can also get it on helmet. So we could get the internal cooldown of Fire Burst to like half a second maybe. So it would actually be a lot like more uptime for the mapping feeling. For bosses, it does not matter. Okay, trust me on that, because you don't need to hit the boss permanently for the ignites, because ignites do have a certain amount of duration. I use the replica Emberwake at the moment because it deals damage faster and reduced ignite duration. So on my PUB, my ignite only lasts less than 2 seconds, which is not really a problem, because my Stormbrand has like way more cast like frequency, and every time it basically hits with the internal cooldown, I would reapply the ignite every single second. So only like if my ignite only lasts like 1.7 seconds, is not really too bad, because it gets reapplied within the timer. So it's like a never-ending story, right? But that's like the thing. So there is a couple ways to build that. One thing that I saw on PoE Dan, actually, Uber Dan, he made a version that is like full Elder with the Blasphemous Grasp, which totally makes sense, because the Blasphemous Grasp also give you damage over time multiplier per Elder item equipped, but therefore you have it's the kind of the same as the Eternity Shroud. Everything has to be Shaper, but on the Blasphemous Grasp, everything has to be Elder. That would then mean that I cannot use the Replica Emberwake ring, because I cannot get this on the Elder version, but I can get the Barracks Respite Elder. Or we're gonna do it differently, like on my Inquisitor build, where I said like I want to use a Viridis Veil and be hex-proof, for example, and use like one magic ring. So the early version, what I would recommend, or trying basically, is just staying away from this all Elder, and then use like a Viridis Veil and just get super tanky at some point, right? But I think the end game version could actually, I can see myself just going full out on Elder items to get the maximum out of it. But I did actually try some things, and I was like, this is like hard. And Essence of Hysteria is like very expensive, to be honest. I think you get like 3 essences for 1 Exalt. So getting that is like expensive. So I tried this on a Hunter base, because Hunter can also have like damage deals, if like ignites deal damage X amount faster. But I spammed away like 10 or 15 exalts in essences, which is not really a lot. It's like 40 or 50 essences, and I only got trash. So the next thing was like, what if we fracture that mod? So I have here a couple of fails, I would say, if I can actually find it. Fracture fails. So these are all essence. As you see, there is everywhere fire burst on it. And what I tried is 1 to 5 chance of essence of fracturing it. And I actually managed to hit it at try number, I think 14 or so. Usually it's 1 to 5, but then there is some mbX RNG, so it's actually, I had to use like 14 to actually get it going. And I have one over here. This is linked. It does not have to be linked. It was a kind of a mistake because I had an appointment yesterday, and I asked a guildmate of mine if he could actually, I gave him some currency. I was like, yo, can you try to fracture me that mod while I'm gone so I can, like, save up some time, right? And he hit it on the second try and actually said, like, yo, mbX is not there yet, so let's link up the staff and get, like, 30% quality on it. And, yeah, but it does not have to be linked, but I'm just saying here on the showcase, right? But now we have a Fractured Fire Burst on hit. And that means now I can like craft it with Scorched Fossil, go like fire dot multi, fire damage, maybe level of socketed support gems as a craft to just increase the damage of Fire Burst more and more. But this version would not work out on a full Elder version because you cannot like, if you have you cannot fracture influenced items, right? This will just stay non-influenced, which is not really a deal for this kind of build. But if I would say I want to go with the Blasphemous Grasp full Elder, what I potentially will do, I actually have to essence craft, and this is going to be ridiculously expensive, and yeah. We're gonna see where the journey will go, but I'm actually looking so forward to this. Just the Blood Aqueducts run, which is not really a measure point, right? But it's just so cool. Herald of Thunder goes off, the Fire Burst goes off, the Ignite Proliferation, the Ignite spread with the Barracks Respite, and having a lot of single target that the Fire Burst alone can kill off, like any kind of like map boss or Maven and whatnot. So it all adds up together. As I said, I'm super hyped about this build. I don't know how the journey will go throughout gearing process and how it will actually perform at a later stage, but this video is meant to just explain what is the plan, what am I trying to do, and in the upcoming days I'll just work on it and I'll give you the update on how this build turned out and if it's that cool what I think it will be. Good, that's it for the first ideas video of the Fire Burst Autobomber, and yeah. Time to get this Kitaba down, get my rest cap, get some levels, and start crafting some gear for this fancy project. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.